A very good day, class. We will continue our chapter number 5, acid, bases and salts. We are going to continue this with a short experiment. We have a setup. We have with a test tube that has magnesium ribbon and dilute HCl, and a cork is fitted at the mouth of the test tube, and it is connected to a delivery tube which is on the dish filled with soapy water and a candle holding over it. And then we have a test tube stand. So what happens when dilute HCl reacts with magnesium ribbon? Hydrogen gas is released. This gas effervescence you can be seen when the soapy water bubbles are passed over and the candle blows off, because the soapy water is released. So it shows the proof that hydrogen gas has been released. So we will see this in the form of experiment, which is magnesium, that is, it is in the form of ribbon. So it is solid in state, reacting with HCl, hydrochloric acid, and this is dilute HCl, means HCl concentrated with water which is aqueous, to give out MgCl2, magnesium chloride, which is again aqueous, and H2 gas, means hydrogen gas is released. So what happens? Magnesium, it replaces the hydrogen gas from HCl, and this hydrogen gas is released. So magnesium is a metal, and we have dilute acid, means dilute HCl is a dilute acid, to give out salt, magnesium chloride, and hydrogen gas. So you see magnesium chloride, when any spelling, I'm just giving you a trick, any spelling ends with chloride, IDE, means it is a salt, magnesium chloride. So it is just a hint to you all. So when acids, they react with metals, they form salt and a gas is released, usually hydrogen or whatever the acid is. Now again we will see this with the example of iron oxide, which is a metal oxide, solid in state, reacting with dilute HCl. Again we'll mention the states as well, solid, and since it is dilute HCl, it is aqueous, to give out 2 FeCl3, which is aqueous, and 3 H2O, which is liquid. So over here you see that Fe2O3, which means it is metal. Iron is a metal and it has oxide. So metal oxide with dilute HCl gives you salt and water. Iron chloride, right? So salt and water. So the difference is water is released when there is oxide, and hydrogen or usually gas is released when it is in the pure form. Next we will see reaction with bases and non-metals. So you see acid reacts with metals and bases react with non-metals. So here we have CO2, and this reacts with NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide. Now carbon dioxide is a gas, so we need to mention the state, and we have NaOH, which is aqueous, to give Nu2CO3, which is aqueous, sodium carbonate, and you have H2O, that is in liquid state, water is released. So it is nothing but the oxides of metal, non-metal, oxides of non-metal plus base gives you salt and water again. So you see non-metal reacts with base and metals react with acid. Just remember this thing. And sodium hydroxide is a non-metal. So here we go for experiment time, the most interesting part of our lesson. We have some apparatus over here. So I am taking a glass which has baking soda in it, that is sodium bicarbonate, and sodium bicarbonate is a base. Okay, so Sodium bicarbonate, I'm going to add some lemon, half a lemon into it, like just squeezing the juice, which is acidic. So you see the reaction between acid and base, that is effervescence or bubbles. See clearly, bubbles are coming. These bubbles are known as effervescences, which is obtained because carbon dioxide gas is released. Now you know that carbon dioxide gas is released because you can see the bubble and you can hear the effervescences. But there is an experiment to prove that carbon dioxide gas is released. So when you take lime water, which has calcium carbonate, and when you release the CO2 gas after the experiment, the water turns milky. So this is a proof that carbon dioxide gas is released. So we will see various types of salts. First is the neutral salt. Neutral means pH is 7, which is obtained by reaction of strong acid and strong base. We will definitely see the examples. We have studied the examples in fact, but for now let us just study this. Neutral means pH is 7. So strong acid and strong base. So there is equal competition over here. Acid also strong, base also strong. So the pH is 7. Neutral. There is no winner, no loser. Now acidic salt. Acidic means you have strong acid. Acid is strong and base is weak. So acidic means pH level is naturally less than 7. So winner over here is acid. So the salt is acidic because acidic salt. Next you have your basic salt. Means weak acid. And you have strong base. Base means pH will be greater than 7. The salt is basic in nature because base is stronger over here. Let us see this with the help of example. First example over here, we will see strong acid, strong base gives you neutral salt. That is sodium hydroxide, HCl, and the reaction gives you sodium chloride plus H2O, because strong acid is also strong, base is also strong. So as I said, winner is no one, everything is neutral. Now second example, you have strong acid, that is HCl, and weak base, that is NH4OH. So over here, naturally the winner is HCl because it is strong acid. In the third example, you have weak acid, that is acetic acid, CH3COOH, and you have strong base, that is sodium hydroxide, NaOH. So the winner over here is base. So the salt is basic in nature. And in the last example, salt is neutral because acid is weak and base is also weak. So again over here, winner is no one, salt is neutral. Next, you have a whole setup over here. The test tube has blue vitriol, which means copper sulfate pentahydrate. Penta means 5, hydrate means water. So copper sulfate CuSO4 has 5 hydrogen water molecules, in short, H2O molecule. So when you heat it, and naturally when you heat such substance, if it has water inside it, the water will come out. So what happens? The water will come out of the test tube. So this is the entire experiment. So what happens? Please observe. The blue color substance, blue vitriol, that is copper sulfate pentahydrate, turns into white color. Why? Because the water is been given out. So when you naturally heat something, the water will be given out. So that is the entire experiment all about, and this is called as water of crystallization. So there you observe the color change. So here you can have some fun with chemistry, fun with science, using many such concepts. Like you can just prepare garlands of crystals, like using copper sulfate and many such things. Now copper sulfate is blue in color. So like that you can use many such substances like alum for white color and many such things. So you can create such artwork and decorate your home, and like that you can make science or chemistry as a very fun learning topic. So as I mentioned over here, even alum. So when you take this alum and you do all this arrangement with burner, tripod stand, wire gauze, and put this alum into a evaporating dish. Even the alum which is crystalline, you see the alum, crystals of alum, right? So this crystals of alum will become like a powdered structure sort of, because even they will give out water of crystallization on heating it. Okay, so these are ions, and these ions give out water of crystallization because they have water arranged in their structure. We have an assembly setup over here. In the beaker, we have two electrodes, that is positive and negative. Positive is cathode and anode is negative. Use the same trick to remember cation T inside it, as I showed you in the lecture 1. So in the same way, remember who is positive and negative. So positive is cathode and negative is anode. So these are immersed in the beaker, and you always need to have a liquid solution. That liquid solution is called as electrolytic solution. These two electrodes are connected to a switch which is powered by a battery, okay, to give you the electricity, and a bulb is connected over it. So what happens when you on the switch? The electrolytic solution having any particular solution inside it, the solution will break into two and the ions will move towards the opposite charge. Right now you won't understand this, but we will understand this concept, how the electrolytic solution breaks, by taking example of NaCl, and because of which the bulb glows. So we will understand here with the example. As usual, we have a beaker, and inside the beaker I am putting two electrodes, that is positive cathode and negative anode, and this entire assembly is called a electrolytic cell, okay. And then we have a solution of NaCl, that is sodium chloride. Now sodium chloride, as we know that sodium is positive and chlorine is negative in nature. So what will happen? Sodium will go towards negative anode and chlorine will go towards positive cathode. You see the ions surrounding the electrode. So the sodium chloride breaks, right? So this entire process is called as electrolysis. So if you see, lysis word initially means to break, and this entire thing happens because of electricity, by using electricity, so it is known as electrolysis. In the similar fashion, we will see the example of CuSO4 with two electrodes, that is cathode positive and anode negative, and the solution of CuSO4, copper sulfate. So in CuSO4, copper is positive and SO4 2 minus is negative. So positive copper will go towards negative anode, and SO4 2 minus being negative in nature will go towards positive cathode. As we know the principle that opposites attract each other. So you see the ions surrounding the electrodes. So we did this with the example of copper sulfate. So we need to write the reaction after this, right? So cathode. So Cu2 plus is initially the charge of copper over here, and this is aqueous, means it is liquid solution, right? So copper 2 will Cu and solid. This is the cathode reaction, and for anode reaction you have Cu, which is solid in state, Cu2 plus aqueous plus 2 electrons. So that's it, the example for 2. And from these two examples, we just come to know that some conclusions, right? So positive, which is cathode, and negative, which is anode, and you have ions, right? So in ions you have two things, positive and negative. So anion's positive is cation and negative is anion. So cation does not go to anode and anion does not go to anode. So anion will go to cathode and cation will go to anode because opposites. So in the next following setup, we have 2 gram of salt in 500 ml of pure water, and taking this 250 ml of the solution in 500 ml of capacity beaker, we are going to connect wires to the positive and negative terminals of the power supply. After which, what are we going to do? We are going to invert 2 test tubes into the solution, which is the electrolytic solution containing water. And the electrolytic solution with water will be having some electrodes immersed into it, as you see in the diagram. Why are we going to invert the test tubes? Because we do not want any air gas or any bubbles forming inside our entire electrolytic cell. When you on the switch, we observe that gas is emerging into the entire solution. So what do we observe over here? That at cathode, the gas formed is hydrogen gas, and at anode it is oxygen gas. And in the above activity, we see that the volume of gas formed at the cathode is double than the volume of gas formed at the anode. And you can see this in the following reaction of your textbook in page number 73. So by this experiment, we come to know that electrolysis of water can take place. So that's it. This is the end of the lesson. That's all, folks. Please keep studying and referring your textbooks and concentrate on studying. Take care. Do not go outside and please focus on your studies. Thank you for being attentive in my lectures and keep referring your textbooks. Thank you.